We're really, really excited that you've joined us for this birthday celebration. It's going to be a chance for, I have to say, a little bit of a wallow in nostalgia of 18 years ago when OneWorld was young, when we were all young. It's also going to be, I hope, a little bit of a salivate about the exciting new things that OneWorld is planning to be doing in the next few years. So you'll get both of that. But we're going to start on this very day in January, 18 years ago. We've resurrected some very old film of a kind which almost can't be played anymore. We've dusted off some old computer code that never expected to be run again. And we've remembered some of the hopes and aspirations we had 18 years ago for this wonderful new medium that we've all been working in. Then when we've looked back, we then skip over the years and try and give some flavour of OneWorld's journey over the years as we move from then to now. The OneWorld Broadcasting Trust has always wanted to operate at the intersection between broadcasting and the debate on human sustainable development. And for us, the sharpest point of that intersection at the moment is the internet and everything it represents. So that when Anuradha and I were appointed the new directors of the Trust at the beginning of last month, we saw the opportunity to begin to create something like OneWorld Online as a crucial next step. What is it? In a word, it's a global notice board, I suppose, a way of experiencing and sharing information, perhaps sometimes even inspiration, between people across a global audience.
The main thing I think that's different about this kind of broadcasting or journalism or publishing or whatever you want to think of it as is that it's in hypertext. And it just means that it's a way of helping to solve a problem that development journalists and broadcasters always have, which is, do you talk about the tip of the iceberg? Do you tell the hard fact, the event that's happening now? Or do you go further down the iceberg to tell a bit more background? This helps because you can do things on all the different levels. And I hope that with everybody's help, that we will be able to build up a system that is in layers like this.
Those of you who know how these browsers work, know that you scroll up and down to find what you want, and wherever you see something that's underlined, you can click on it and it will take you in hypertext jumps to something else. And if you want to get the latest UNICEF, you have it there. And at the bottom of each piece you can click to see information about the organisation. So in terms of the organisation, it's not only a way of getting the material out to a worldwide audience, but also letting that audience know something about them. And then as we come through to the network television ones, here again we can make a sideways leap and actually pull up the transcript of that program if we wanted to. And of course, it gives television in a way another dimension. And I'm very moved by this man. I mean, there he is, in a terrible situation, making his protest, holding up. That banner then is shown, caught by a camera, shown on Channel 4 once, now caught again by internet. And he's holding up that banner in effect to potentially 25 million people around the world. And so the message goes on.
I have now acquired a computer and are beginning to learn to use it, and it will only be a matter of time, I think, a very short time, before I buy a modem and get hooked up myself to this particular network, and then we'll see the sparks fly, no doubt. Well, you can guarantee that this particular endeavour is going to go because the driving force is Peter and Anuradha.
And if I have a query about this exercise, is that the new information highway, the superhighway, is a superhighway for the super people with super money. And what we should all be campaigning for, what we should all strive for, is to make this free to everyone.
I'm a long way behind this debate, I'm afraid. If a government, say, were to object strongly to information carried on OneWorld Online and want to try to remove it, is there in practice any way in which they could do that?
I just want to briefly say how pleased I am to be present at a historic moment. I think this really is one of those extraordinary times when a major innovation is suddenly starting to make itself felt. And I think you will feel the implications of this very rapidly indeed.
And it's here in the woods, in OneWorld's one-room office, that Sue Martin and Anuradha Vitarchi have been creating the first websites for DFID and the leading UK NGOs.
At Christian Aid, we believe that the internet is the perfect medium for spreading information about our work in a very quick, efficient and cheap way. We chose OneWorld Online because we see it as the ideal host, because not just Christian Aid, but other development agencies are also situated, they're all situated on the one site.
The next step is a consultative meeting with NGOs, big and small. Is this enterprise worth pursuing? There was general assent, despite a recognition we're all grappling in the dark. And what is oneworld.org? Just a bulletin board for promoting a few of the best bits from partner websites? As thousands and eventually millions of articles pour in, it dawns on us that we have a new kind of animal on our hands, a portal, though that term isn't yet coined and Google is a long way off. And when we channel all this material into manageable segments, we find ourselves creating the world's first news service in the field of global justice, its first guides and events pages, its first jobs and volunteering service, and children's, youth, education and campaign sections. A whole lot of pioneering editorial is blossoming from the little cottage. But more important than all this is the fact that these pages, which by the end of the first year are attracting readers from 120 countries, 60 of these from the South, are bringing to light injustices hidden by mainstream media, like global warming, child sex abuse, unaccountable Murdoch-style media, and the exploitation of the Ogoni oil fields.
Does Shell think that it's good business to operate in areas where substantial human rights abuses occur, such as Nigeria?
Well, Shell, like all other big companies, and particularly in the energy industry, takes a long-term view about where it operates. You can't simply cut and run because of a particularly difficult period.
As the internet continues to grow and to mature at an extraordinary rate, we believe it will increasingly offer the most exciting medium ever to be put in the hands of those struggling for a fairer and more just world.
It is really difficult to think of other organisations that we have supported which have so lived up to the promise and the vision that OneWorld has. A great deal of its success has been founded on being genuinely a leader in the technology. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, that is not something that BT says lightly.
I'm really proud that Ford is able to support. We're looking forward to a long period of support ahead and really being able to learn about the field through OneWorld's journey. I think it's going to be an extraordinary partnership that's going to deepen our understanding of the field and hopefully help the communities that Anuradha referred to at the beginning of her remarks, the struggles of the poor and the voices from the South.
As OneWorld Online grows at startling speed, we decide to devolve its power into an international network.
It is 5 years, almost exactly, since OneWorld Online began. So it's like the second 5 years, I suppose, we can look forward to, and then who knows beyond that.
I think it is a great leap forward for us, and it's a great future. We have traveled a long way during the last few years, and it's the logical culmination of all the work that all of you and many others who are not here have put in.
The international network grows rapidly from the original 3 centres, and each one develops its own way of serving local needs. The Ford Foundation funds an unforgettable meeting of centre teams and international board members from as far afield as Zambia and Washington, India and Italy, since a closely bonded group is essential for motivating a network. By the end of our time together, everyone is ready to express empathy in action.
Well, I guess OneWorld is standing at the threshold of a great opportunity of raising the voice of the Africans in terms of social justice, human rights, good governance. And I think for a long time they've been a silent majority. The poor tend to not be heard. Nobody wants to listen to them. And I think OneWorld Africa stands at that threshold where they can really raise the voices that have been silent for a long time. And I think it's time for Africa to speak.
In times of peace, sons bury their fathers, and in times of wars, fathers bury their sons. But in these times of AIDS, fathers and sons bury each other.
A box hanging from an apricot tree in a Kenyan schoolyard gives us a key insight. Instead of people at high risk always needing us to communicate about them, we see them using a simple tool that saves their own lives.
When pupils have certain questions that they would want to ask, some of them are shy. So we encourage them to write them on a piece of paper, and then they don't write their names.
If your boyfriend has AIDS and he kisses you, will you get AIDS?
The apricot tree was the focal point for gathering questions and offering answers. So how about using mobile phones, exploding across Africa in the same way?
What we found in Nigeria at the time when we went in 2006 was that there was such a lack of information, lack of services addressing young people's reproductive health needs. Working with butterfly wax, we developed the My Question service. The very first day we launched the service, within 24 hours, we had 864 questions. By the end of the first month, we were hitting 6,000 questions. Then we had to stop because the success was so unplanned for. And subsequently, we geared up. And with Eva, we now address over 10,000 questions on the average every month. At the moment, the service has been running in Senegal since 2010. Since 2011, it's been running in Morocco. And earlier this year, we started a scoping study in Egypt. And in the next month, we're also starting the project in Mali. So as we go to different places, it assumes a life of its own. It has to be locally relevant and it has to be locally driven for sustainability and really to address the forum where young people are gathering in each country. At the end of the day, you're trying to provide young people with vital information they need where they gather.
In India too, young people's lives are at risk as farming families face ruin if their crops fail. But farmers are getting expert answers to their urgent questions through OneWorld's Lifelines project.
For the 15,000 people planning to attend the United Nations Climate Conference in December 2007, there seemed to be only one way to get there. Pity about the 100,000 tons of carbon. But for some climate activists, there was another way to fly. They travelled carbon-free in the virtual world of Second Life to One Climate Island and the virtual Bali conference. Behind each avatar arriving on One Climate Island is a real person sitting at their computer in a different part of the world. They've come from scores of countries, from Spain to South Africa, China to Chile, the US to Germany. The nerve centre of Virtual Bali is the OneWorld UK team in London. They're linking One Climate Island to the events in Bali as they unfold, with video feeds from OneWorld's multimedia reporters Jeff Allen and Daniel Nelson.
We off?
Okay, stand by. Okay, Jeff, and cueing Danny now.
Greetings from the UN conference on climate change in Bali, Indonesia. And I'm Daniel Nelson of OneWorld UK and One Climate. And behind.
And everyone interacting virtually gets the chance to put questions to the top UN officials and NGO leaders they couldn't have got access to if they'd spent carbon and cash travelling in person to these conferences.
I made the point earlier on that the United States is behaving rather like passengers in first class in a jumbo jet who are believing, quite wrongly, that an emergency or catastrophe in economy class won't affect them. It's not a technical challenge, it's a political one. We have the technologies already, we have some of the institutions, we now need some political will and some money to make it happen.
Well, the secret of our success is this eco-trolley. Wheel it out in the morning before anyone comes in, plug it in, and no one quite realises that this actually means that we can go live to the world.
Here in Poznan, Poland, and another day begins at COP14.
Welcome to the One Climate channel, broadcasting live from the Bella Centre here in Copenhagen.
Climate change negotiations in the Chinese city of Tianjin.
Live coverage of the Bolivia Climate Conference occurring
We're to the final days at the UN climate talks here in Durban, South Africa.
As ways of rigging elections become more sophisticated and the threat of violent disruption increases, OneWorld has launched new software for Senegal's 2012 presidential election. The process starts with trained monitors in 1,500 polling stations checking that proper procedures are being followed. One of the key initiatives of the OneWorld system is that each check is then coded so that it can be sent to the central situation room in a form that can be instantly analysed and displayed. Meanwhile, in North London, OneWorld is up early to supervise the deployment of new software that will put these reports onto the map in real time.
We have the potential for getting data from about 1,500 to 1,600 polling stations today.
Very impressive, very well organized. Seems that I'm very impressed with the data collection, and the analysis is just, it's unbelievable. You have to see it to believe it. Yeah.
We are celebrating democracy, the victory of democracy in Senegal.
When people feel empathy, they want to make a difference right away. So here's how OneWorld is turning empathy into action.
You're missing out. Why? Because our favorite websites tend to focus on bad news, the stories that make big headlines, but depressing reading. That's where React comes in. Download it for free, and then just browse the web as normal. When React notices you're reading about an issue where you could be part of the solution, it'll tell you immediately, whatever website you're on. React, the web app that makes it easy to make a difference.
Well, looking back, it's been a great adventure, an 18-year-long adventure, and every week has been, something thrilling or something scary, or there's never been a dull moment. And looking forward to the future, I'm sure it'll be just as exciting, if not more so. And there's a brilliant new team who are so strong, and they can just take it forward. So I feel complete confidence in them that it'll be an even more exciting future. And the last and probably the most important thing of all is meaning it. If you really mean something from the absolute core of you, then you make things happen in a different way. And that way inspires people, connects people, makes them feel empowered too. This is something that I know the team has, and this is what will make a difference to not only their work, but to the effect of their work on global justice.
Don't you know, we're talking about a revolution. It sounds
We've had lots and lots of wonderful emails and videos
and here are just a few.
Hello everyone at OneWorld. We're here at the Sundance Film Festival premiering our new film Pandora's Promise, all about nuclear power. Hooray to that. And wish we could be there. I hope you're all having a great time. And what can I say? What can I say? It all began with OneWorld, let's put it that way. And it was an amazing organisation to work for. And I wish Peter and Anuradha all the best for the future. And I hope you all have a fantastic party. Bye! Bye!
And thank you for your inspiration and for your commitment. Working with you changed my life, gave me some of my closest friends and fondest memories, and set me on a course in life which has brought me a great happiness. Thank you.
And it was also a really fun experience because I was given interesting tasks to do and people always listened to what I had to say, and I was allowed to contribute what I could to the website and to the organization, and people gave me really good advice, which is all of it is really more than I could ask for. And I just felt really comfortable working there, and because everyone was just so nice and friendly. And even though I was the youngest person there, I just felt really comfortable and equal to everyone. And I would just like to say congratulations to OneWorld on their 18th anniversary, and just thank you.
You have achieved an enormous amount given your modest years, and the reason for that must surely lie above all with the extraordinarily inspiring and generous leadership you've had from Anuradha and Peter. Civil society has faced extraordinary challenges over these 2 decades, but at the same time we've been equipped with some incredibly powerful tools in the form of the web and digital and social media. Anuradha and Peter's leadership and inspiration and their support for people way beyond their own institution and projects has been extraordinarily influential. My own feeling is that OneWorld could not have been raised by more caring parents and could not be in a better position to enter adulthood on its own. Congratulations on everything and good luck for the future.
Good morning from Cambodia, OneWorld. You're turning 18 this week. I'm really sorry I can't be there as part of the celebrations, but know that I'm thinking about you from here in Cambodia. I feel a little bit like the absent uncle who you probably hear a lot of cool stories about but don't get to see in person that often. But I've really enjoyed watching you grow and change and evolve, and actually growing and evolving and changing with you over these past 10 years or so that we've been together. I know this is a critical time for you in your life. You're 18 now, you're growing up, you're moving on from your parents, and I'm really looking forward to growing and changing and evolving with you over the coming years. Just remember, with every ending, there comes 100 new beginnings, so this is a really exciting time for all of us. Happy birthday, OneWorld.
Hi, Carmen Padonou, OneWorld Sénégal. Happy birthday! Oh my love.
Très fort. Hi, Lamine Khan, OneWorld Sénégal. Bés bu dellu si moo neex.
Hi, Kevin from Senegal. Joyeux anniversaire à OneWorld.
Hi everyone from Washington, D.C. Congratulations, Anuradha and Peter. I've been inspired by your creativity and your innovation for 15 years. Your spirit of collaboration and your modesty have set the compass points for OneWorld as it's evolved from project to project and with each emerging technology. Together, we have empowered people to report their own news. We've demonstrated that a news service can talk up to its audiences, surprise them with how much they can know and what others like them are doing, to speak out and to challenge governments and corporations. Together, we have all set high expectations for media to support the struggles of the poor to improve their lives, and that vision will sustain OneWorld in the future. Wish I could be there.
Every time when I'm here in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, when I talk to people and I'm talking about OneWorld, people look at me and say, oh, OneWorld, wow, yeah, that's a nice network. So it's well known, it has a very good reputation, and thanks to you all, and keep up the good work. Happy birthday.
Hey OneWorld. It feels like yesterday since we started in Abuja in 2005, and so many great things have happened afterwards.
Hi Peter, Anuradha and the whole team. Congratulations with this big step. We're very confident that the new team will do just as good as the founders did.
We look forward to many more lulls together.
Congratulations.
Have a great party.
Have a great party.
Goodbye. Enjoy. Bye bye.
It's hard to think of an organisation and of two people who inspire so much affection as OneWorld and Anuradha and Peter. And I want to say something on behalf of ODI and of CDKN and just say why that is, because I think there are three things. The first is, you've no idea how boring people like me in the think tanks, I don't speak for Sam in CDKN, but how boring we are, and you brought glamour to our lives because you opened the world to us through all these extraordinary technological innovations over the years, and you reminded us that there's a world out there that we want to be part of and speak to, and it's not all about sitting in our libraries and our offices with our books and our papers and writing journal articles, which is what we used to do before you came along. And you have brought stardust to our world, and we're very grateful for that. The second thing is that you reminded us that when we appear in the world covered in your stardust, we have to have something to say. I spent 90% of my time as director of ODI vetting briefing papers, which ended up with the vital conclusion that the main policy recommendation was to do more research on this topic. Thanks to Anuradha and Peter, we were reminded, if you're going to be on a website, on television, on Twitter, communicating part of a conversation, you have to have something to say. We need to say it in 140 characters or in 5 sentences, and it needs to be sharp and relevant and useful, and you taught us that. And that's the second thing that we take away, I think, from your work. The third thing we take away is that none of that matters. The technology doesn't matter, the stardust doesn't matter, the communication doesn't matter unless there are values underpinning it. And the thing that I've always been so impressed by both of you and by the organisations you founded, is that you are absolutely committed to social justice, to equality, to participation, whether it was in poverty reduction or, as we saw, in rights or in HIV/AIDS or in democratisation, or now in climate change, in the work that Sam and I are doing, and where we've benefited so much from the work that you've done. It's about carrying those values. As Tennyson said, poetry is emotion recollected in tranquility. I think that we are absolutely driven by that idea in the work we do, and it's something we've learned from you. You've reflected in your organisation. So although this is a celebration of OneWorld and its work, I think that Anuradha and Peter, you deserve our special thanks for showing us, for modelling in the real world what kinds of people we could be, and I'm extraordinarily grateful for that personally and on behalf of the organisations. And I know it's going to get even better in the future because the technology is changing with all the opportunities and risks. And we want to express, I think I speak for all of us, our support and our solidarity and our hope that you will succeed even more than you already have. Well done. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm so pleased to be here, and I'm just so amazed that you've been holding, the message for so many years, and I think it's 18 years, but I'm sure you're not going to just give up and bow out. I think you're clearly going to stay involved with all this kind of wonderful work, because it's your spirits that make this happen, together with the technology. You've been building a sort of global spider's web in a sense, But now, without you, the kind of connectedness of the world that is happening, OneWorld is a wonderful idea. Of course, it's still a divided world today because we have a world of poverty and of wealth and so on. But nevertheless, without you, it would be even more divided than it currently still is. So I think the wonderful way in which you've brought together so many people and how you've influenced the lives of millions of people across the planet, I think it's a unique and absolutely magnificent achievement. So I'm really delighted to be here today and to have been involved a little bit in your work. Not very much, I have to say, but just a little bit. So thank you for asking me to speak, and I'm really pleased to join you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And now, just one last comment with a novel suggestion, I think, for all of us here present. I'm going to turn to one of our own team, Adam.
As you're probably able to imagine, since Anurada's face looking very concerned, novel suggestion. Since Anurada and Peter announced to us that they're going to be stepping back, we've been bashing our heads together trying to think of some suitable presents to give them. And in particular, we wanted to choose one present to hand over this evening. Now, this probably goes without saying, but there's a fairly fundamental problem here, which is that there isn't a present that we could give you, either of you, that would reflect the 18 years of work and joy that you've both put into OneWorld. And similarly, I know I can say that there's not a present that will kind of capture the gratitude of our team. But more kind of beyond those headline issues, there's some more specific challenges we faced. So we started brainstorming. Anurada's a journalist, Peter, a documentary filmmaker. We decided immediately we want our present to tell a good story. Obviously, it's got to be ethical. Tiny environmental footprint. That's another one of our big points. We wanted it to be humble, meaningful, and personal. And we also wanted it to be fun and creative, as everybody here will know that you both are. And in a similar vein, we thought it should be out of the ordinary. And perhaps more important than all of those, we wanted it to recognise that you've created OneWorld as a family that extends a long way beyond the walls of our office to people here this evening, and also to many more people around the world, as we've just seen on those video clips. So we thought ideally it would be a present that could be from all of OneWorld. So no pressure. One more thing, sorry, I've forgotten. This was an important one as well. It absolutely could not be a present that was going to get put on your mantelpiece on the basis that it is very, very challenging to look good next to a BAFTA Lifetime Achievement Platinum Award. Hopefully you'll feel that we've found something sufficiently unusual and creative and imaginative. It's definitely ethical because we made it ourselves in our living rooms. And I think can safely say that also checks off the humble requirement too. And it's also definitely going to be from everybody in this room because we're going to crowdsource the content. See a few nervous shifting faces. I'm looking forward to giving this, having built it up so much. I'd like to invite everybody here this evening to join me giving Anurada and Peter this book. Now, this is a beautiful old dictionary that has been tailored slightly for its renewed purpose in life, which is going to be with a guest book, as a guest book with a difference, okay? And I'm going to invite everybody here this evening to write a short message to Anurada and Peter on one of the cards that I'm hoping my colleague Gopal has with him. We'll be handing these out, and we'd like you to write just a short message and to select a word, any word from the dictionary, that you think will give Anurada and Peter cause to smile, stop, think, whatever you like. It doesn't have to be profound or philosophical. It could reflect your experience of working with OneWorld or your experience of your friendship with them, or any other word you choose in the world that you would like to pass on. I will put a bowl out for people to drop their cards in, and I will collect them all up and personally place them next to the relevant word in the dictionary at the end of the evening. I hope that you enjoy the opportunity to show a little bit of creativity, and that Anurada and Peter also enjoy the opportunity to look through your contributions and read them, and it will bring them a small smile or two. So that kind of leaves me to finish by saying that I'm going to kick things off. I thought if I'm going to ask people to do a creative task, I should really get things started myself. And I'm going to do that by contributing one word on behalf of all of us here, and a message as well on behalf of all of us here. And that word is thanks.
So, thank you so much. What an amazing thought and wonderful present. And really, the whole of OneWorld for the last 18 years has been a sort of present. Because obviously, though all of you have been so kind as to say it was to do with Peter and myself. Of course it was to do with everybody. It wouldn't have meant anything to us if it wasn't. It was really everybody who's worked with OneWorld, at OneWorld, for OneWorld, with OneWorld, in with, by, from OneWorld for the last 18 years. And it's the combined dedication, combined creativity that has meant that OneWorld's been able to turn empathy into action in all these different parts of the world. So thank you to everybody, really. And the other thing that, in all these wonderful emails and videos we've had from people around the world, and all of you being here, is people keep saying, so what are you going to do next? Well, the answer is, I have no idea. And neither has Peter, because we're basically not going to run off and join some other organization. How could we after OneWorld? And we're just OneWorlders through and through, really. This is our dream job. This is the thing that everything else we'd done before was a preparation for, where we really know that this was it. And so we're just going to have a break now. First of all, a bit of rest and renewal after 18 years. And then we're going to see how we can support OneWorld as best we can. All the OneWorld UK team, OneWorld US team. Peter's going to stay on the board of OneWorld UK as in an advisory capacity. All the hard work has to be done by the rest of the board and the team. And I'll stay on the OneWorld US board, so we'll stay in touch. And if you need something, just call. And so I suppose the way of thinking of it, as Joe Smith said, was to think of us as grandparents now to OneWorld rather than as the parents, because all of you will be doing the real work now. And I wanted to end by my favorite quote about leadership, since you all talked a lot about leadership and inspiration. And it goes like this. It comes from The Little Prince, I think. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. If you want to build a ship, don't herd people together to collect wood or assign them tasks and work, but rather teach them to long for the endless immensity of the sea. And this is something that actually one of the team members, Adam, gave to me. And so I know that they already understand this. And so whatever leadership we've been able to offer, and I'm glad if it has done some good, and I know we've been through some difficult times too. I don't want to make it all sweetness and light, because it never is that easy. But if we have done something useful, I know that the team will be able to go on and do even better in times to come. And so I'd like to now pass back to Mike and the team. Thank you.
Just 1 second.
Oh my goodness.
So this is a thank you. This is a thank you from all the team for all the lovely work that you've done, and we're very proud of you, and great thanks for you.